They say Vladimir Putin's wealth reaches up to $300 billion, but what if I told you that might just be pocket change compared to his real fortune? Behind the strong walls of the Kremlin, it's said that a secret empire is hidden. Palaces even bigger than Versailles, super yachts that seem to disappear into the world's oceans, and daughters living under fake identities. They are protected by intense security and Western sanctions, yet they continue to live in extreme luxury. Watch until the end, because what we will discover about Putin's alleged true wealth might make almost every known billionaire look poor. But before we start, if you're new to our channel, make sure to subscribe so you'll always be updated with videos like this. From peasant to blood to presidential power, before Vladimir Putin owned palaces estimated to be worth over $1.3 billion, before he was linked to super yachts comparable to those owned by the richest people in the world. And before his name became a symbol of global power, he was just a boy called Volodya, the son of factory workers who grew up in a cramped apartment in Leningrad during the Soviet Union era. His grandfather, Spiridon Putin, once served as a cook for Lenin and Stalin. But despite this, their family was far from wealthy. Their family lived through poverty and war. 3 of his siblings died before reaching adulthood. They lacked food, and having enough warmth during winter was considered a privilege. In this situation, ambition became the way to rise above their circumstances. Putin's childhood, shaped by hardship after the war and state propaganda, gave him 2 things: an intense desire for order and the ability to rise quietly. While most young people were reading comics, Putin was more interested in books about intelligence officers or spies. In 1975, he was recruited into the KGB, the notorious secret police of the Soviet Union. There, he was trained in psychological warfare, surveillance, and various methods of manipulation. This did not just become a job for him. This became the foundation of the power he would later build. The KGB taught him more than just how to be a spy. They taught him how to disappear when necessary and to dominate when the right opportunity came. While other world leaders rose through elections or the business world, Putin emerged from the shadows. His rise to power after the era of Boris Yeltsin was no accident. It was the result of many years of careful planning by a man who understood that controlling fear is more powerful than seeking praise. He gradually built the image of a leader who came from the working class and rose through his own efforts. But according to allegations, that image was carefully crafted, an image that allowed him to gain the loyalty of many citizens, while at the same time spreading fear throughout the world. The story of rising from poverty to power is not just an inspirational tale. It is also said to be a weapon, a narrative that gave him moral authority in the eyes of many Russians, and a reasonable explanation in the eyes of other countries. He's just a simple man, some say. Meanwhile, as that image was being built, it is said that luxurious compounds were constructed, secret networks were formed, and hundreds of billions of dollars, or perhaps even more, disappeared into the complex world of oligarchs and offshore companies. If you look at Putin's origins from this perspective, it might not be a simple story of success, but a carefully written chapter in one of the most powerful strategies in modern history. The hidden trillions, Putin's true net worth. According to some official estimates, Vladimir Putin's net worth is between $300 billion to $500 billion, enough to consider him one of the richest people in the world. But it is said that this might just be the tip of a massive iceberg hidden beneath the surface. Unlike well-known businessmen in technology or the oil industry who were openly listed among the ranks of the richest people, Putin's alleged wealth is not directly in his name. Instead, it is said to move through a very complex system of proxies, oligarchs, and offshore entities, a structure that is extremely difficult to trace even for international sanctions and investigations. Some experts say that if his influence is measured based on control rather than legal ownership, the scope of his financial power could reach up to trillions of dollars. At the center of this system of influence is the blurred line between Russia's national wealth and the so-called personal influence of Putin. From state-owned companies like Gazprom and Rosneft, which collectively manage hundreds of billions of dollars worth of assets, to major stakes in mining, telecommunications, and shipping, it is said that a system has been formed where loyalty is the true investment. And in that system, each oligarch seems to serve as a secret bank safeguarding power and wealth. His longtime trusted allies, such as Yuriko Valchak, Jenna D. Timchenko, and Arkady Rotenberg, are not only considered close friends. According to reports and allegations, they also serve as financial proxies. People whose companies and properties are said to reflect Putin's wishes more than their own interests. This system is said to have been carefully designed. It is said to use shell companies registered in Cyprus, the British Virgin Islands, and Switzerland. These companies serve as the legal owners on paper of the super yachts, private planes, and luxury properties. For example, the so-called Black Sea Palace, which is estimated to be worth $1.35 billion, is reportedly registered under one of the most complex networks of holding companies linked to people close to him. There is also a super yacht estimated to be worth $1.5 billion, which according to reports is among the most secure ships in the world. In the documents, it is registered under an unknown offshore company, but its security, crew, and equipment are more suited for a head of state than for a private citizen. The reason why it's so difficult to determine Putin's true wealth is the very structure of this system. He doesn't need to have a palace, private jet, or collection of expensive watches legally under his name to be able to use them as if he were the real owner. Almost everything is reportedly designed to have plausible deniability, a way to deny direct ownership. However, according to investigations, details such as security, exclusive access, and the staff managing the properties provide clues as to who really has control. The result is a financial system that can almost be compared to that of an entire country. It is vast, almost invisible, and extremely difficult to dismantle. This is no longer wealth in the ordinary sense. It is said to be a powerful financial structure reinforced by fear, silence, and absolute control. A system that elevates a president to a level almost like that of a monarch, while remaining hidden behind legal structures. And that is just the beginning. Daughters of the Empire, Maria and Katerina. They were born in the shadow of the Kremlin, but are said to live like heirs to an invisible empire. Maria Vorontsova and Katerina Tikhonova, the daughters of Vladimir Putin, are among the most private and hardest to track personalities in modern geopolitics. In the official biographies of the President of Russia, they have almost no presence, no official photos, rarely mentioned in public, and almost no recognized public role. But according to various reports behind aliases, tight security, and offshore structures, they possess influence and wealth that even some royal families could be proud of. Maria, the eldest, is a pediatric endocrinologist by profession, but according to reports, her role goes beyond that. She is linked to Nomeco, a large private medical company said to be worth over $1 billion and reportedly connected to state contracts and businessmen close to the Kremlin. According to reports, her lifestyle includes frequent stays at chalets in Switzerland, the use of private planes, and visits to exclusive properties that were once reserved only for high-ranking officials of the Soviet Union. It was also reported that her former husband, Jorrit Vassen, a Dutch businessman who worked for companies connected to Gazprom, allegedly served as a discreet conduit to European markets for the Kremlin, before these were affected by international sanctions. Meanwhile, Katerina, the youngest daughter, also has her own influence. In public, she is known as a scientist and has also participated in acrobatic rock and roll competitions. She leads Inopraktika, a research organization often compared to the Skolkovo Innovation Center and considered by some as one of the main centers of innovation in Russia. Although there is no official record of her personal wealth, It is said to be tied up in various tech startups, real estate investments, and academic programs funded by the Kremlin. She was also previously married to Kirill Shamalov, a Russian businessman who once had assets estimated to be worth nearly $2 billion. After their marriage, he acquired a 17% stake in Sibur, one of the largest petrochemical companies in Russia. When they separated, it was reported that the division of their assets was carried out very quietly, a situation similar to the secrecy surrounding financial matters associated with Putin. But according to reports, the two siblings are not just simple beneficiaries of privilege. They are said to be an important part of the system used to transfer and hide the wealth associated with their father. Their names appeared in documents such as the Panama Papers and Paradise Papers, which provided a glimpse into a complex network of trusts, property acquisitions, and the use of nominee directors. From apartments in Monaco to Swiss bank accounts linked to their network, their story shows how the wealth of powerful families is allegedly preserved through legal structures and complex financial systems. For many, they are the princesses of an empire that is not officially acknowledged, almost untouchable, never officially acknowledged. But according to reports, they are one of the most important parts of the empire built by Vladimir Putin. And if you want to find his alleged wealth, don't follow his name, follow theirs. The billion-dollar palace by the sea. On a remote cliff overlooking Russia's Black Sea, surrounded by dense pine forests and guarded by elite security personnel, stands a massive palace said to be even more luxurious than Versailles. In official records, it has no recognized owner, but according to various investigations and reports, it is linked to Vladimir Putin. The palace is estimated to have cost $1.35 billion. According to investigators, it was intended not just as a residence, but also as a symbol of power, privacy, and extreme security. It is more commonly known as Putin's Palace. It covers an area of approximately 190,000 square feet, making it one of the most expensive private residences in modern history. In the images captured by a surveillance drone, you can see the wide marble staircases, luxurious chandeliers with gold details, and a secret underground passage that leads directly to the sea, a possible escape route if necessary. Underneath the palace, there is also an underground hockey rink, which, according to reports, was personally requested by Putin to serve as a private training area. There is also a wine cellar containing wines estimated to be worth over $3 million, including selections from Bordeaux, Tuscany, and Crimea, reportedly chosen by wine experts who never give interviews to the media. The interior of the palace was designed by renowned Italian designers who were reportedly brought to Russia under strict confidentiality agreements. From silk wallpaper to Louis XIV-style furniture, almost everything was custom-made. According to documents that have come to light, even the toilet brushes reportedly cost more than $800 each. There's also a private theater, a Turkish hammam, an indoor swimming pool under a ceiling with large fresco paintings, and a spa that is compared to the most luxurious resorts in the world. But the most controversial part of the story is not what's inside the palace, but how it was reportedly funded. According to reports, Alexei Navalny, who is now in the opposition, said in his investigations that Putin did not directly pay for the construction of the palace. Instead, it is said that the funds went through a complicated network of shell companies, offshore accounts, and gifts given by oligarchs. Billions of dollars reportedly flowed through various construction companies connected to major contracts with the Russian government. There are also reports saying that some of these funds may be connected to state-owned companies like Gazprom and Rosneft. If these allegations are true, it shows a system that uses loyalty and influence to fund extreme luxury. While many ordinary citizens of Russia are facing economic problems, this palace remains closed to the public and is strictly guarded. This is not just a house. It is a throne carved from Italian marble, protected by silence and funded by a system said to be almost impossible to trace. But because of leaked documents, satellite images, and persistent investigation, The secrets it has kept for so long are slowly being revealed. The flying fortress, Putin's presidential jet. Above the clouds, where diplomacy becomes strategy, and where luxury becomes protection, one of Russia's most sophisticated aircraft flies. This is the Ilyushin Il-96-300 PU, the presidential aircraft used by Vladimir Putin. It is estimated to be worth around $70 million. But according to reports, this is not just an ordinary jet. It is said to be a flying command center, combining luxurious design and advanced aviation technology. This is where important diplomatic discussions reportedly take place while in the air. On the outside, it looks just like any other state aircraft of Russia, but inside, a whole different world awaits. According to reports, its interior was designed by the Russian aerospace company Technodynamica, using furnishings with gold decorations, polished mahogany, and luxurious velvet seats that are said to have been made according to Vladimir Putin's personal preferences. And there are ceilings with gold details, carpets imported from France, and a luxurious conference room. Behind it is said to be a hidden secure war room with encrypted satellite communication and a special Russian operating system used only by select military and cybersecurity units. The security of the plane is also not ordinary. According to reports, it is already part of the structure of the aircraft itself. It is said to have missile jamming technology comparable to those used by some modern military aircraft. It also has defensive systems that can release flares and chaff within just 1 second to confuse incoming missiles. Almost no commercial airplane in the world has this level of protection. When it comes to symbolism, Putin's plane is often compared to the United States Air Force One. But according to reports, their philosophies are different. While Air Force One is a clear symbol of power, the Il-96-300P, on the other hand, is designed to be hard to track. It is said that it often flies with decoy aircraft, uses constantly changing flight paths, and rarely appears on public flight tracking systems. There are even times when 3 identical Il-96s fly at the same time, but only one actually carries the president. It's a strategy designed to confuse anyone trying to track his location. Even the airplane's restrooms are said to show a unique combination of luxury and security. There are Italian marble, but there are also said to be anti-surveillance systems. According to some reports, Putin's own seat has a biometric lock, so only he can use the sensitive control panels hidden under the armrest. At the back of it, there is a private bedroom with a handmade mattress imported from Germany. It is reportedly surrounded by about 2 inches of reinforced steel, so it can also serve as a temporary bunker in case of an attack while in the air. This is not the only way Putin travels. According to analysts, it is also a way to show his presence without having to speak. In the quiet world of diplomacy, the roar of the twinned PS-90A engines of his plane is considered by some as a clear statement. The Russian leader is not just flying. It is said that he claims the skies aboard a flying throne wrapped in titanium, security, and intense secrecy. Vladimir Putin, according to his critics, fear is not just a result of the regime. It is said to be a strategy. Protected by... Critics do not simply disappear. According to various reports, it seems that some of them are being systematically silenced. One of the most well-known cases is Anna Politkovskaya, the journalist who bravely reported on alleged corruption and other issues in Chechnya. In 2006, she was attacked in the lobby of her apartment on the very birthday of Vladimir Putin. Many consider this a highly suspicious coincidence, although no court has proven that Putin was directly involved in the killing. Another frequently mentioned case is that of Alexei Navalny. In 2020, he was poisoned with Novichok, a nerve agent banned under international law while on a domestic flight. In Russia, after criticizing the government, he survived that incident after receiving treatment in Germany. The Kremlin denied any involvement in this incident. For many observers, these cases are not just criminal mysteries. According to them, this also serves as a message to anyone who would dare challenge the power. But fear does not only exist on the streets or inside prisons. it also reaches further. According to reports, it extends to the world of big business. Russian oligarchs are said to know the unwritten rules. Loyalty can open doors to tremendous opportunities and wealth. But opposition can lead to investigations, loss of influence, or even more serious consequences. It's not just about accumulating gold, private jets, or luxurious villas. According to analysts, it's about control. Who will remain wealthy, who will remain powerful, and who will suddenly disappear from the center of influence. When there are reports about Gazprom officials or bankers dying in unusual circumstances, or suddenly disappearing while an investigation is underway, it becomes the subject of widespread speculation. Nevertheless, it's important to remember that these incidents have different explanations and have not been proven to be part of something confirmed. Despite this, it remains a subject of debate how the enormous wealth associated with Putin remains secure. According to some analysts, this is not only because of legal structures or offshore companies. They say that part of it is also a system based on influence, loyalty, and extreme secrecy. From this perspective, silence becomes an asset, secrecy becomes a measure of loyalty, and fear becomes the most effective protection of the system. According to critics, it's not just properties that are managed by such a regime. It also affects stories, opportunities, and even the future of the people within the sphere of power. Even luxury becomes a symbol of influence. From the distribution of expensive Patek Philippe watches to the use of the Ilyushin Il-96 presidential jet, which costs around $70 million, these are said to show who has the power to grant privileges and who might lose them. In this world, according to analysts, a single whisper is enough to change a person's fate. And safety does not depend solely on power, but also on continued loyalty. The palaces may be shiny, the super yachts may be armored, but according to critics, beneath all the gold and luxury remains a silent agreement: obey or disappear. If you believe that fear is more powerful than wealth, Vladimir Putin may be one of the clearest examples of this. In a world obsessed with billionaires, he seems to be playing a different game. According to analysts, his story is not just about immense wealth. It's also about power. Power hidden behind simplicity, influence concealed through proxies and allies, and control that is said to extend across various industries, countries, and generations. And what we've discussed today is only a part of the allegations and reports about the empire associated with him. If you were surprised by this story or found yourself thinking about the information we've discussed, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell, because we still have many stories, secrets, and events to discuss that are rarely shown to the public.